Welcome back to Guru Talk. I'm Dave Palumbo, and joining me today is going to be my friend Amin Alai, and we're going to be talking Ramadan because Ramadan's coming up, I guess, the first week of April, and it's going to take place over the course of the month. And I know you probably have a lot of clients. I know I have a lot of clients who are on Ramadan, and the rules in Ramadan, are basically you can't eat, I don't think, or drink anything when the hours that the sun is up, right? So when the sun goes down, you can start eating and drinking, and then you can continue until the sun rises again the next morning.
That's correct. That's correct. Ramadan is from April 2nd until May 2nd.
Okay.
Or May 1st, 2nd is pretty much when it is.
Right.
And there's a big celebration afterward. Yes, you cannot drink or eat from the sun up to the sun down.
And the eating part is not quite as bad. It's the not drinking part that's tough because, especially if you go to the gym and you work out,
So exactly, this is the big conundrum. Like, what do people that are bodybuilding do during Ramadan? Because when do you plan your workout?
Right.
You can't eat afterward. All these things are kind of like super important. So I came up with somewhat of a system, and I'd like to just share it with everybody for free.
I want you to share it because then I'm going to share my system that I came up with. I want to see, and I don't know what your system is, so I want to see how close they are to each other. All right.
Okay, great. I recently came back from a trip from Qatar. Or Qatar, however you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And I was more familiarized with the regulations on the fasting because Ramadan was coming up. So I had been speaking to someone who I was a client of mine, and he gave me basically the rundown. So you can take gear while in the month of Ramadan, just not during the fasting time. Mm-hmm. Okay, so because you can't take it during the fasting time and there's this long stretch without water, in my opinion, there's only a select few compounds that I would recommend because, some of the other compounds without that water can be really toxic to the kidneys.
Right. Well, I would say you'd want to probably avoid orals pretty much.
Well, actually, it depends. The system I have, you would be able to take the oral right when you break your fast.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying, if you're saying in general, you don't want to be, there's certain compounds you wouldn't want to take because you're going to be in a dehidrated state a lot of the day.
Exactly.
I would think orals would fit that category since you're kind of flushing that through your, digestive system.
Exactly. And, you are allowed to eat before the sun rises. So if you were to think that you could take an oral before the sun rises, I don't recommend it. That's not recommended.
Right. Do it at night. Yeah. Okay. All right. So give me your system. Give me your system.
Over there, it's different than over here. Like, in the Middle East, it's a celebration. It's a time. It's really one of the most celebrated times of the year. And so over there, they kind of shut most things down during the day, and most everything's kind of up during the night. So I don't want to say it's cheating the Ramadan, but cheating the fasting. But in a way, they make it so it's more to their advantage. So here's what I recommend. First off, I recommend the training must be very short and intense. And when I say short and intense, if there ever was a time and a place for Mike Mentzer's 1 or 2 sets, this is it. You don't have the sustained glucose, you don't have the sustained energy to do a long workout, and you're going to get so dehydrated so quickly once you start training, you're going to need water so bad that in order to maintain your fast, you have to time it so that you literally are working out, very short workout. And I mean like 20 minutes, but it's got to be 20 minutes really intense.
Mm-hmm. And when do you have your guys working out? At what time?
So 20 minutes before the fast should be broken, 20 minutes before the sun sets. Okay. And then I recommend that and now see over there, they break the fast with dates, and then they have a big meal. Okay. For a bodybuilder, I recommend that you break your fast. Dates are fine, or a shake like whey protein, your Carbolyze, honey, something like that. Right. That's perfect. And if you can do that right after the workout and then not eat the big meal, have a little bit of a smaller meal again right after the post-workout shake, and then save that bigger meal for closer to when you go to sleep.
Right. Now, so give me your breakdown of meals. Like let's assume we can get, I don't know, you tell me, how do you have a person, let's say they're not dieting for a competition, they're off season, they're in whatever, mass building, maintenance phase, whatever you want to call it. Give me the breakdown of when they're going to have their meals at what time. Let's assume the sun goes down at 7 p.m., okay?
Okay, so assuming the sun sets at 7 p.m., they would have their training at 6 let's say 6:30, 6:40, if you want to count warm-ups in there, from 6:40 to 7 p.m. Right at 7 p.m. when you're done, you want to drink water. So the best, in my opinion, the best thing you do is just drink some straight water by itself. And then right after that, drink some whey protein isolate and some sort of fast-acting carbohydrate, whether it be dates. And dates are kind of really iffy because the fiber slows it down. Honey's really good, and your Carbolyze or something like that is also very good because it absorbs very quickly. Right. So that also, given the fact that you haven't eaten or drinking all day, that's really going to be like in your stomach 30 minutes. It's not going to be in your stomach very long. It's going to clear very quickly. Yeah. So that's when you're really going to be hungry and you want to eat that big meal, but you have to hold back. You have to eat a digestible meal, a meal that digests in about 2.5 hours, not a big meal, because they usually have a big feast, Right. And for a bodybuilder, I'm recommending that you hold off on that big meal. Basically, what you want to do is you want to eat a post-workout shake, and then throughout the evening, you want to eat 4 times. One of those times, an additional time will be a shake. So you'll have 2 shakes.
So give me the timing. So 7 o'clock, you have the shake, and then you would have them what?
7 o'clock. Yeah, 7 o'clock, you have the shake. Between 9 and 9:30, you would have a meal. This meal, I wouldn't have beef. I would have more like chicken or fish because you want it to digest a lot quicker. Mm-hmm. So we would do proportionate vegetables, chicken, fish, and rice or some sort of carbohydrate like that. But in portions that would digest within 2.5 to 3 hours.
Right. And then what's the next meal?
The next meal, I would recommend you either have a shake. And the reason I'm saying this is because you're still haven't eaten all day, so the food's going through you really quick. So a shake would actually get you another 50 grams of protein that you wouldn't really be able to get any other way. So I'd recommend a shake then, and then about an hour after that shake, which it should be about right, I'd recommend you having a bigger meal.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
With beef in it.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. So how many is that? 5 meals you got in?
2 shakes with 3 meals.
Yes, that's 5 feeding. All right. I'm similar.
5 total.
I'm similar. My protocol is when the sun. I don't like them train. No one's going to want to train starving to death from the whole day and dehydrated. That's right. So I'm a little different. As soon as 7 p.m. comes, I have them do a meal that's very easy to digest, whether it be egg whites and some cream of rice or something like that, something that's it's got some substantialness to it, just because they're going to be so hungry. And I know I always had a lot of problems training at the gym if I'm starved. So I have them have a meal within 45 minutes to an hour, hit the gym. Once again, I completely agree with you. High intensity, lower volume workout. See if you can get the workouts done in 45 minutes. Okay. Right after that, have your shake, your post-workout shake with you. So then you would do your 50 grams of whey isolate with like a Carbolyze or something like that, a fast-acting, high molecular weight carbohydrate. Then you can kind of relax for a second. Come home about 90 minutes after that shake, and you could probably do it even an hour after that shake because at that point, the shake is digested very quickly, and the first meal is all gone already. You could have a meal, a more substantial meal, maybe chicken breast or piece of salmon or something. I probably wouldn't do red meat at this meal, but you could. And, you can have a more substantial carb if you want. You can have, rice or potatoes or even some pasta if you wanted to at this point. Because, this is going to be probably around this meal around 10:30 at night. So this is probably going to be your big meal, your biggest meal. Then what I would do is probably around 11:30 midnight, I would do another meal right before you go to sleep. Now, for people that are guys that are bigger, because this is going to take up, this is meal 4 now, or feeding 4. For guys that are bigger, I probably would wake up in 2 hours and down a whey isolate shake, maybe with some macadamia nut oil in it, just to kind of get some more protein in. Sleep till, 6:45, wake up, or 6:30, wake up before the sun comes up at 7, and have, like an egg and oatmeal, egg whites or whole eggs and oatmeal meal. Something heavier, that's going to hold you that you can eat in the morning when you wake up. But that's why I like the whole eggs with the oatmeal. Oatmeal is like a more of a longer acting carbohydrate, lower glycemic index. And then that'll hold you, for the rest of the day. Obviously, you want to drink a good amount of fluid when you first wake up too. I would probably down 16 ounces of water. Just, just easy. And probably right when you break fast too, I agree with you too. I would down 16 ounces of water right before I ate that first meal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, the only difference I think between what you're saying and I'm saying is the timing of the training.
Right, training. Yeah.
And so let me explain that a little bit. Right, you're right. I agree that it is really hard to train. I mean, it's very difficult to train in the state that I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that it actually makes you better. I mean, if you can just do it for a month, because you're training in a depleted state. Right.
I just always worry about muscle loss.
Low.
You know, if you're breaking down massive amounts of muscle, what is your body?
Okay,
you have no energy in your bloodstream. What is your body using? It might be cannibalizing muscle tissue for the amino acids to turn into glucose, you know?
Possibly that's why I said 20 minutes. But here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to the gear protocol, I recommend the Primobolan. Because the Primobolan works really great with low calories, and it's very muscle sparing. You know, it's protein sparing. So if you had like once you broke your fast, if you took like maybe 100 or 200 milligrams throughout the week of Primo, I think that it would maybe hold your body a little bit more in a state, so that 20 minutes wouldn't affect you negatively. Well, but you're right. I think that's really the only difference is training, and then right afterward breaking the fast. Or breaking the fast and then training, and then that's the main difference. Yeah. People have to feel that out for themselves.
Yeah. What I usually do with my clients too is at least if they're not getting ready for a comp. Sometimes Ramadan falls in the middle of competition dieting, which is a nightmare in and of itself, as you know, because you got to do cardio and your food is limited. But assuming it isn't, I usually give guys off. I tell them, you know what? Either clean out for Ramadan, do your PCT for the month, 2 weeks of HCG, 2 weeks of Clomid, or some guys just drop them down to like 200 milligrams per week of testosterone just as a maintenance type of thing. Give the body a complete rest. I mean, that's what really Ramadan, a lot of people don't realize religious holidays or religious rituals are usually rooted in health. And Ramadan, fasting was meant to help the body detoxify itself. And so it wasn't designed as a religious ritual as it was, as a way to let the body heal itself during that time. When we know intermittent fasting, between autophagy and all the great things that happen when you are fasting, there is a lot of health benefits to that.
Yeah, resensitizing your insulin levels, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the kosher rituals in both, people who are Jewish and people who are Muslim, that's rooted in health too, because they always saw you're not supposed to eat shellfish, right? Because shellfish are scavengers. They eat, they eat the crap off the bottom.
The bottom
so they felt like, those fish had the most toxins, so they didn't want you to eat those.
And the animal has to be killed a certain way.
Right. And the pigs, pigs they felt were dirty animals, and that's why, pork was never allowed.
Right, exactly. Yep. That's basically the gist of it. Personally, I would say take Ramadan off. I wouldn't take gear during Ramadan. But you got those hard-headed people that just want to, and for those people, I say, listen, man, if you're going to take something and you're going to take something, obviously testosterone, would have to be in there, because if you can't take Primo without testosterone, because it suppresses your test levels. Right. But I would say take Primo and test if you have to take something, because the Primo would help you with not lose muscle during the Ramadan phase.
But see, I don't follow Ramadan, but if I did, back in my days, being an erotic bodybuilder, I would plan my whole year based around Ramadan. I would know, all right, Ramadan's in April. All right, I'm not going to compete right after Ramadan. I'm going to compete maybe at the end of the summer or in the fall or before Ramadan. And then when Ramadan comes, I'll plan my off period around that, so that I don't have to worry about lifting too heavy, and I can kind of give my body a break off the anabolic. Like, I would design my whole year around that. I wouldn't just, I know guys that they're like, next week's Ramadan, Dave. What should I do? Like, they weren't even thinking about it. Like, you got to plan everything.
Speaking of which, because you just came up with a very valid point. What do people do if they do have to compete during Ramadan? What do you suggest?
I think it's tough.
It's tough.
Thank God it's not around the Olympia time, right? Those guys would really have a tough time. Because Ramadan changes, right? Well, how much does it vary? Right? Does it ever occur in the fall? I don't know the rules, to be honest with you.
I don't think it ever occurs in the fall, to be honest with you.
So usually you're good for the Arnold, you're good for the Olympia, but the USA Junior Nationals is usually around the time that Ramadan happens. Look, you could do anything if you're organized. You know that. If you had, you could work 6 meals in there. back in the day, if I had to do Ramadan and I was going to compete, I would have just slept all day, and I would have become nocturnal.
That's exactly what you do. You just flip your day to your night.
Assuming you don't have a real job. I mean, yeah, assuming you don't have a real job.
Assuming you don't have a real job.
I didn't have a real job back then.
You could have done it, Dave. Yeah. You would have been real.
I would have been perfect. Yeah, I would have. I would have been a complete night owl. I probably would have had to take melatonin to because you know what? That is an interesting thing too. If you're going to sleep during the day and you're going to be up at night, you probably should take melatonin like right before you go to bed during the day. So you kind of like, you almost set your biological or circadian clock as if you're a nocturnal animal, because for people who don't know, like raccoons, they're a nocturnal, right? They release their melatonin during the day because that's when they're supposed to sleep. It signals to the body to go to sleep. So you have to almost change your chemistry of your body.
you would have to change quite a few things. You probably wouldn't want to consume too much sugar before bed or any of that stuff. You probably also would want to do too much cardio before but again, it would be a whole flip. It would be a flip thing. But let's say you can't do that.
Right.
Let's say you can't do that. Okay. Let's say you can't do that and you're one of these guys. Listen, and you know what I'm talking about, Dave, because look, we both agreed we would take off.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We both agreed. But there are some people, I mean, rest in peace. Some of those people that just can't stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, maybe this is a good reason to stop. Maybe this is it's supposed to make you take pause about your life. It's a religious holiday. Hey, maybe I need to take a break. I need to give my body a rest. And maybe people who are watching this, maybe this will resonate with them, and they'll say, you know what? He's right. Let me give my body a rest for this month. That's what it's for. That's the religious implication of it. I'm going to rest for Ramadan, and then I'm going to hit it real hard once I come off Ramadan. And I think that's.
I mean, a month is nothing. I mean, a month. I mean, come on. Do you remember that? I mean, listen, everybody. Things have just really gravitated in a way that I can't really comprehend. We used to always take Arnold Classic was the only competition that people would gear up for, but usually after the Olympia to pretty much the winter time, everybody was clean.
Yeah.
Nobody took anything.
But guys still trained though. That's important. Yeah. I think people think, well, if I'm not on stuff and I'm on Ramadan, I can't work out. No, you can work out. Don't use that as an excuse for you can't. You can work out. Eat something at 7 o'clock and go to the gym and do your workout, and then come home and you can feast with the family all night. I actually feel it must be really fun, like you said, in Qatar and Dubai and all the places where they really cater to people who are on Ramadan, because that's what most of the country follows. So it's literally like everything's open all night long. It's like you can go and get a meal at 2 a.m. if you really want to, right?
I mean, so for being over there, you could take naps during the day, and I mean, like you said, most stuff's closed during the day. It's totally catered for it, so it's a lot.
And
easier.
In Europe, they have siesta anyway, right? Everything's closed during the day anyway, so I'm sure people are sleeping during that 4 hours during the day.
South America too. There's a good chunk of the time in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
That's hard to say. They say that you're more productive like that.
Right. I like naps. I like naps. I think it's a great thing. I
like naps.
But you get used to whatever's going on. But look, as a bodybuilder, and I can tell you this 100%, you could accommodate your schedule to anything if you put your mind to it. You just have to be organized about it. If you're not organized, you're absolutely going to fail. There's no doubt about it. You have to have a schedule that's ironclad, and you have to stick to it like a religious ritual. No pun intended.
Absolutely.
And if you do that, you'll be able to train, your 4 or 5 days a week. You'll be able to get all your meals in, and you're not going to lose any muscle, okay? So understand that this is not an excuse to say, oh, I'm fucked, and I can't do anything about it. You absolutely can. You choose not to, or you choose to. That's, I used to have to go on vacation. I'm in the middle of dieting. I got to go, and you have to pack your food. You got to organize. You can't just leave with no food and you're dieting. Then you're going to wind up eating McDonald's, and it's going to ruin your diet. If I had to go in and do, like I did a lot of commercial stuff, you remember your brother and I used to do a lot of that stuff back in the day.
Newsweek, yeah.
If you're on the set for like 2 days straight, it's almost like 12, 14, 15 hours a day. You better bring your food with you if you're dieting. And I was dieting through a lot of those things. So I had to just be organized. That's all. And I would come back and I would be tired, but I'd go to the gym anyway because I knew I had to do it.
And naps are always best after your post workout meal, right?
Absolutely. Oh my God. Yeah. I used to I would do legs and take a nap and wake up, and I would legitimately felt like my legs had grown, from.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, whereas if you're just burning the calories, you don't feel like it really sticks to you.
No. Anyway, thank you for joining me today and helping enlighten our audience, because I know a lot of people ask questions. We get the same questions every year, but you know what? There's always a new crop of bodybuilders who are coming into the sport for the first time and who have been following Ramadan their whole life. And so these kind of shows help them kind of at least formulate in their own mind how they can organize their schedule. So thanks, and always appreciate the great friendship that we've had over the years, Amin. And as you know, you're welcome back anytime.
Right on, Dave. Hope you have a good one, brother.
All
Thank
right,
you.
guys, that's going to take us to the
Peace.
end of another episode of Iron Guru. What are we calling this? Guru Talk. I'm losing my mind. I got too many shows I'm doing. I got Iron Therapy. Did you see that new throw? Iron Therapy is the new show with Leslie Timble. I got Iron Rage with Lee. I did yesterday, and Dave Pusinello, who was an all-time low of lows. Iron Debate. Guru Talk.
Well, Guru Talk kind of started around Guru, right?
That's right. Well, I think
on.
you were I'm trying to think back. Aside from Dan Duchesne calling himself the steroid guru, I think you were the first person who ever called yourself a guru, right?
Actually, you know what? I never called myself a guru. I was labeled. You remember back in the day, they called me the mad scientist.
No, but everyone I knew, I think you called yourself that. Everyone I knew said the guru Amin. That's what there was always guru. I always heard that.
Tony Hughes. I think Tony Hughes started that.
I don't think so. I heard people calling you a guru.
Really?
Back then. Yes. Back in
New
York.
it's hard to know, because that you realize, and going visiting places, you don't realize how popular you are until you go there, and then people are like, oh yeah, that's Amin. I'm sure you get it everywhere you go.
Yeah, it's funny. I people recognize me in the weirdest of places. My kids, like, I don't even know how my kid, like, I think my kids like it, but I'm sure, like, they're always like, how does that guy know you, Daddy? That kind of thing. They're like, oh, I watch RX Muscle. I love that. Because there's
Exactly.
bodybuilders everywhere, in every walk of
Everywhere,
life.
worldwide.
Yeah,
it's growing too.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Right on.
great talking with you again,
Right
and
on.
hopefully everyone will enjoy the show. Guys, we'll see you next time.